Yep, got you started on board.
Hello and welcome to the Business Made Easy show. I'm your host, Fiona Hall, and today I'm interviewing the fabulous Laurel McLay. And we are going to be talking about a topic that we both really love. And it's forget about your sole purpose. What do you really want to be doing for a living? So this is a topic that both of us really have been thinking about quite a bit this year for ourselves. So we're probably fairly well qualified to speak about this topic. We've both been on a bit of a venture and a journey to figure out doing more things that we really love to do in our business and find ways to earn money doing that. So before we get into that, I'm just going to introduce the Business Made Easy show for people who are listening for the first time. The Business Made Easy show I started in February of this year, it's coming up to the end of the year, coming up to Christmas. And it was originally myself and my co-host Liz Fry, and she's gone off to do some other exciting things, and I'm continuing on with the show because I love to learn and I love to have really amazing conversations with some pretty damn cool people. And over the course of my 13 plus years of business, I've had the privilege to come into contact with some pretty awesome people in business who are experts at what they do. And I love learning and I love sharing my knowledge. So what a great way to do that is to have a show and interview great people and learn great things and share that. And I get to do what I love to do, my sole purpose, my passion, what I find fun, and I get to do that and share it with lots of other people. Now, being a business owner, we usually start our businesses with a specific set of skills, right? The problem is there's all these other cool things which we need to find out about, we need to find people who know about, and we need to make sure that we're getting those things done in our business. So the people I interview are experts on specific areas of business, which I know will help me and you. So that's what the show's about. It's about helping you find the easy way, business made easy, the easy way to do business. Because if it's too hard, I reckon there must be some clever bugger out there who's found a cleverer way to do it. And I'm going to go out there and find that person. So before we get into interviewing Laurel, I'm going to just talk to you about my little nugget. So each show I give you my nugget of wisdom. And I want to talk about business owners. As a business owner, we often are growing a team. And what can happen is that we can get really, really busy. We can get kind of weighed down. And then we've also got team to manage. The struggle is for business owners that I work with is kind of stepping back from doing the work that actually earns the money. And it can be a real juggle to get to the point that you can step back. And the problem that business owners have really is deciding what it is they want to do. So this is a great segue into what Laurel and I will be discussing. So the key thing I want you to think about is if you're in that position as a business owner and you're getting frustrated, you're getting weighed down doing the work, think about what do you really love to do? When you started your business, what was it that excited you, that drove you? Look for the energy clues. What gives you energy and what drains you? Where do you naturally end up? Is it in sales? Is it marketing? Is it product development? Where do you end up? Think about looking for yourself where that is, because that's a really strong clue of the things you probably should be doing in your business. Then the second thing I recommend doing is write a list of the tasks that drain you. Those are the things that weigh you down. And they're the things that, depending on your personality type, you'll probably end up postponing, avoiding, or just gritting your teeth, head down, bum up, and getting stuck into it, but really, really resisting the process. So think about which one of those kind of camps you might fall into there. And the third thing is, once you've got to that stage and you're starting to notice those things that you don't like to do, actually write them down. I recommend to all my clients that they actually keep a little list beside their computer and actually start physically writing them down. And then the next time you go to do that task, actually record how you do it. Step by step, step 1, step 2, keep going through, list the software that you use or the people you contact, or if you're filing a piece of paper, where it's filed in a filing cabinet, get some juicy details in there. Why am I asking you to do that? So you can outsource it easily, because that's the goal really, is to get that thing off your to-do list, get you back doing the stuff that you love to do, so you still love your business. So that's my little nugget of wisdom for today's show. Now, I'm going to get into the next part, which is introducing my guest, Laurel. So I met Laurel back in 2001. We did some personal development courses together. And Laurel is a bundle of enthusiasm, and it's hard not to catch that when you're in her presence. And she's built a career in her talents around recruitment and sales, and personal development really is another really strong strength of hers. She's carved out a niche as being a thought leader in her industry, and she helps professionals to become recognised as thought leaders in the industry and make damn good money doing it too. She's a careers expert, guest on the Paul Henry Show. I think she's got her cup to show us today as well. And this keeps her up to date on the show with what's new and how to use this in your business. Now, Laurel's first book was called Lead Generation, the 21st Century Strategies to Ignite Your Sales. And she's renamed that to More Walk, Less Talk. And that was in 2015. And she's got 2 more books on the go. More Heart, Less Hype. More Care, Less Crap, which I'm looking forward to reading. That sounds fantastic. So, Laurel, welcome to the Business Made Easy show.
Thanks, Fiona. Lovely to be talking with you again. We always have such great chats, don't we?
Yeah. So the topic, forget your sole purpose. What do you want to do for a living? Tell me about the importance of this for you and how you see it for business owners.
Well, thank you. And I'm really thrilled to be working with business owners because I just love the whole guts that people have to take an idea and move it into something that's really going to happen. Hey, look, just a logistical challenge first, Fiona, and we can do this on the fly. As I just realised I'm using this on my phone. What happens if a phone call comes through? That's going to be something.
It's going to be a challenge, isn't it?
So let's just presume that no one's going to ring me in the next hour or 40 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. Okay, so it's interesting, and thank you for your introduction, but I think there's a couple of stage points in that, as was in your nuggets. So yes, I have written a book on lead generation. But actually now I'm not really sharing that book anymore. And the reason being is because I was doing what I felt I should be doing. And I also felt I was doing what people would buy. And if I did what I really wanted to do, which is all about getting out there and doing what you love. And you know, there are so many of us, you and I are really out doing the same thing, aren't we? And I was thinking, no one's going to want to buy that. But the fact is that I wasn't actually really racked up about lead generation. I'm passionate about sales and I'm passionate about the result. But the actual process of lead generation is something that bores me senseless. And here I am having written a book on it. Look, it's a good book and it still has some stuff, but that's a really great example of someone doing what they feel they should be doing rather than what they really want to do. So if you think about someone who might say be in wellness, and I know you've got quite a few wellness people, and they might be calling themselves a personal trainer, but they really want to get into some kind of work for pregnant people, or they really want to take a look at how much sleep impacts people's lives. And, you know, I just was going, yes, when you're sharing your golden nuggets. Because the big thing for me is about where your energy is. I say that's been my mantra for this year, is go where the energy goes. So you talk about having the piece of paper by the PC, that's great, and looking at what you don't want. And that energy thing I think is great, almost like having a ledger. Yeah. And so, you know, I read people, I'm sure you do too, and they might be talking about their business and they're going, blah, 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 blah. Here's a case in point. I was talking to a guy last week who was actually looking for a job, and he was talking about his role in an automotive supply chain. And then he started talking about some change management projects that he was working on within those supply chain roles. And that's when his energy completely changed. And I said, do you like management? And actually most of management he didn't really enjoy, but he loved the project work. So there's a thing, and I would imagine there's a bunch of your viewers who, like you say, there's a whole bunch of stuff that really lights them up, and there's a whole bunch of things that don't. And so look at those ones that light them up. You know, it's simple, but often it's not something we do. It's almost like, for me, Fiona, it's almost like too easy. And I think it's also about your market. So who do you love working with? And again, with business owners, I think that's going to be a really pertinent point for them.
Totally. And when you're thinking, I mean, when you're thinking about that, because there's people start off in business and kind of a whiz and a bang and all excited, and then they get into it and realize there's all these things that they have to do, and it can be such a kind of heavy weight on them when they're first kind of starting out, and they kind of, you know, start to lose that the reason that they started a business.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all those statistics around 80% of businesses fail within the first year or 2 years, whatever it is. I don't believe they fail. I believe people give up because it's like being on a bronco horse. And whatever you're doing, when you're looking at business, and I think there's interesting things about business. So I used to, when you met me, I was running that company called IT Maniacs.
Yeah.
Now, that had premises and suppliers and staff. And so I had a lot of outgoings monthly, which was a pain in the ass, actually. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
What happened is I loved what I did so much that I could keep on that bronco horse. But if I wasn't that excited about it, it would have been really easy just to quit.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a business where I coach and speak and present. And so I don't really have very many expenses, which makes it a lot different. And so I do love this road that I've chosen because that means there's a lot less of the stuff that you talk about. As you've well pointed out, there is just so much outsourcing available. And you and I talked about having someone for this and someone for that. And I really think that's the way of the future is you don't need, I mean, a personal local assistant I think is fabulous, even if it's a virtual one. I do think there's a lot of value in having a local assistant.
Yeah.
I know you've talked about that. But in the meantime, you know, I paid someone to get my web form and Infusionsoft right on my web page, and it cost me about $10. And they just did it great. So I could have spent 5 hours doing that.
Yeah.
So it's just absolutely, you're so right. Getting clarity is so important. Getting real. You know, look at what you don't like and just think, why should I spend 5 hours looking at my MailChimp template? I'll go get someone else to do it. Just give it a go. And 5 is so flaming cheap that, you know, it doesn't even matter if it doesn't work out that great.
The thing is, I think, I know for myself, there's this, I should do it. And I noticed that it's really easy to slip into habits of, I don't know where to look, I'm in overwhelm, it's too hard, I need to get it done, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to go. And it can be this kind of, you talk yourself out of it. That's what I've done previously anyway, but asking for help. I noticed a lot of women, especially women people I work with, is asking for help. I know it's been my biggest lesson, and it's one I really have to work on. I'm shit at it.
Back at you, girl. And I think it's women and I think it's Kiwis. You know, it really is something we don't do. And I don't know whether it's a shame thing. I've been looking a lot at shame lately, you know, because I thought that I didn't really do shame and I realized I did. And that whole thing that you said about the should, you know, I've said that going where the energy is one of my big themes. The other one is dogma. And when you think about, you know, wellness, for example, I mean, how many people, and I know you've been through your extreme stuff in the past, which has really served you, but then you look back at it and you think, what was the cost? Don't you? I'm pretty sure you do. You know,
completely.
Yeah. And I think it's just that whole thing is we feel we should be doing it almost as sometimes, I mean, for me, I'm a South Island Protestant, you know, oh my goodness, I can't be possibly doing that. There's two parts what you said. The first one is the obligation.
Yes.
I think that's just worth, well, why wouldn't you get someone else to do it? And, you know, why wouldn't you just ask for help? And the thing that I do now, Fiona, as I frame it, is like, look, I haven't been very good at asking for help recently. And I think, and usually the person I'm talking to isn't either. And so, but I'm just trying to get out. Look, would you feel comfortable about sharing my my post on Facebook? You know, just something like that. And if you're not, cool, but I just want to ask, and Mike go, oh no. And I also say, what can I do for you? Because often I'll share stuff on Facebook, you know.
Yeah, totally.
The second thing you mentioned, which was the overwhelm side, and we're just so confused. And I think when we find ourselves doing that, let's just take a breath, stop and go and do nothing. You know, I think as business owners, we don't do that enough.
That's one thing I've embraced this year.
Good girl.
Because I went through that really extreme weight loss episode, I completely destroyed my adrenals basically. So it forced me to rest. I had to learn to rest because I couldn't do anything else. And there was a whole mental process of resisting. But if I'm lying down, I'm lazy. So there's all these stories about resting that I had to completely re-examine to be okay with resting because my body needed rest.
Well, it's rest, rest and also think time, and that's so important for business owners. So, I mean, I just totally acknowledge you for that and to be, taking the learnings from that. And I think it is something that, here's my little nugget for weight loss and fitness is, again, just go where the energy is. And everyone's got a view. My twin sister, who's been through some health challenges this year, she's gone completely vegan and like totally vegan, no alcohol, no coffee. And she's saying to me, we had a chat in the weekend, and she's saying, but Laura, food is medicine. It's just so amazing. It's just so amazing. And I really think you should look at what you're eating. And I'm like, actually, I've come really clear, Fiona. I'm not ever going to be one of those people who gives up sugar. I'm not ever going to be one of those people who gives up gluten. I just love food, and I'll eat what I feel like, but I'll be mindful about it because I like to eat quality food. So, Little and Friday just epitomizes me. It's got such beautiful ingredients, and so I'll eat it, but I won't eat that much. For me, where my energy is meditation, and I just ruthlessly meditate twice a day, and it's not even an effort. So I think that's the thing for you, same as exercise. I gave up the gym this year because I actually was bloody bored stiff with it.
Yeah.
I'm doing bar, which is a combination of Pilates, yoga, and ballet, and I feel girly. Oh, it's so cool, Fiona. And I feel so girly about it, and it's lovely because I feel it's kind of strength, but it's gentle strength.
Yeah.
So, I just think with so many of us, it totally consumes us. And I've got this thing called personal ROI, which is where your energy goes around wellness, around relationships, around career, and around finance. And if you're sucking all that energy into trying to be a good girl with your exercise and beating yourself up because you pop back on 2 kgs, then guess what? You're not going to spend that time with your business. And that's where I think, so I feel you and I, again, we've talked about a lot of the similarities of this year, have probably relaxed on that side of things, and we keep ourselves fit and we eat well.
Yeah.
We're not being extreme.
Yeah, and I think there's also this. I went and watched the movie. I've been following Taryn Brumfitt, who did the movie Embrace.
Is that about? I really want to see that. I don't even know how can you see it? Because
I'll find the link. I'll find the link.
I may put that on this post because I really want to see that. Yeah.
So I've been following her movement since she started, really, and I actually contributed to the crowdfunding for the movie because I just felt so passionate about the topic. And I love her approach to health and wellness. It's very much embracing all that you are and embracing being healthy. And she talked about how unhappy she was when she got down to compete in a body.
That was amazing. When she shows their photos,
and then she felt so much happier and at peace with herself. Like she was booked in to go have a tummy tuck and a this and a that after having her 3 children. And then she gave herself a right good talking to and realised what she was doing and the role model she was for her children, her daughters.
Right.
Her whole self-esteem, her whole self-worth was tied up in having a flat stomach.
Yeah.
And when you attach that much meaning to your body or other parts of yourself, you're completely not embracing who you are as a human being. So I just love that message.
That's so great because she's been there, and we've all been there, well, not all of us, but I'm sure a lot of us have been there where we've got down to a great weight, and it's like, actually, is it all worth it? And I've become very good friends with Lisa O'Neill this year, who does she's got a program coming up called Brand New, actually, in a week or so, and she took me shopping to Farmers, right? So I've got this really gorgeous dress I'm wearing.
It is pretty, I noticed.
Yeah, and I can't remember how much it cost, but it's quite hugging, and I would never normally wear hugging things. But she said, you got great eyes, great boobs, great arms, great legs, and a great ass, and it's just really my tummy and my chin. And it's like, we've got to think about all the stuff that's good.
Yes.
And celebrate that.
It's focus on the good stuff, hey?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm just loving it. And I now, I mean, no one notices I fluctuate maybe 2 to 4 kilos. No one notices that I've done that, but I was making it mean so much, So
we do.
Yeah.
But that's the culture that we've grown up in as a female, as a woman, is to attach our self-worth to our looks, when it's so much more about who we are and how we operate in the world. And
our energy, Fiona, our energy.
What a shift, huh? And what a gift to give other women coming through. That's what I think is the, the hand back down the ladder for other women.
Yeah, but I think on that too is if you are someone who really embraces an all or nothing and it works for you to say give up sugar or give up gluten or whatever, then great, go for it.
Yeah.
But you'll just know because you'll know what it's always just about the ledger, the balance, the benefit and the cost. So like I say, I think there are some people whose lives are changed because they do something quite extreme in their eating. And that's cool. But I think, getting some advice around it is really smart too, although there's so many different conflicting opinions.
And that's the challenge. I'm working with a health coach at the moment, and we're just trialing different things, and it's been really
Exactly. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more of an invention. It's like, oh, what can I make with this, or what can I make with that? Not you can only eat these foods, and it's a very narrow band, and that constriction and the tightness around that it's off-putting, and there's no joy. It sucks the joy out of food.
We want the joy in food, and that's because I've just finished a mindfulness eating course, and you'll see them on Facebook, which is Mindfulness Works.
Oh yeah,
and $100 for 4 sessions. It was just wonderful, and it was all about black and white. And food is either good or bad. You're either fat or slim, and it's just about not looking at it in that world anymore. And I just like to see my eating now is a bit of a metaphor for my life. As I sit down, I savor it, I eat it slowly, and I enjoy it, and I eat whatever on earth I want. I thought, well, isn't that kind of a great metaphor for what we do in our day-to-day life as well?
Yeah.
Because if we think about that whole thing that you just said about putting boundaries, and some of the stuff that I've worked with, and you've seen me through the years that we've known each other, it's been the best thing and the worst thing for me because there's a whole lot of rules around it. And I've followed it to the letter. And here's a really great example of this is, and I'm sort of coming back and thinking, is this relevant to what we're talking about? And I actually think it is, right? So I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning quite religiously, and I'd do 2.5 hours of work before I went and did my exercise and came back and did a meditation. And of course, that, I felt great generally after that. But what I realized is I was pushing myself to get up at that time, and sometimes I just needed to sleep a bit more. Yeah. And so I did a big walk on Waiheke this weekend, which was wonderful. And yesterday I was just shattered. So yesterday and this morning, I just didn't set my alarm. But then on the flip side of that, the other day I was in Wellington and I was in this beautiful hotel room, and I woke up at 4 o'clock and just felt like doing work. And so I did it. And I think, can you see the similarities of that?
Yeah.
The eating thing is have guidelines, have intentions, yes, but just go where the energy is. And so, that 2 hours, or I think it was actually 3 hours that I spent in that hotel room on Friday morning was just wonderful. I got so much belted out. And then I'd been planning to maybe do a little bit of work during the day, but I went to Parker instead and saw the Gallipoli exhibition. And I loved it. And that's, I think, something we want to look at. We didn't get into business to buy a job, right?
No, we want choice and freedom.
I know, we've got choice and freedom, yay! And so that's where I want us to look at. And I'm just working, October, I work less hours. I did a blog on that about a month ago. You might have seen it. So if Elon Musk can have a way of getting man on the Mars, then we can find a way of working 25 hours a week in our business. And it's not a one-size-fits-all, cookie cutter method.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said about your health coach. Try a bit of this, try a bit of that. And so I have definitely been working less in October, and I've had a record month. So, crazy. And that's why I want to help people with that now specifically, is around, getting clear on what you don't want, which you've already talked about, getting clear on what you do want, and then working out how you can make it happen in a way that works for you, specifically around how many hours you work. Because, you and I both got kids similar age. It's lovely. I went to Lucas's drum lesson last week, and just things like that. We can do that,
Completely. And having that, looking at that topic, what do you want to do for a living? Part of that is, if you're a business owner, is having that. I was talking to someone yesterday who's just about to start a business, and I said, well, she was coming to talk to me about possibly being a mentor, and I wasn't the right person for her, but I was more than happy to kind of share some advice. And I said, the very first thing I would recommend I wish someone had told me, was actually look at the hours that you want to work.
I love it. Fantastic.
And I said, she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, do realise that you think she's service-based business. Do realise that you're going to, you think you've got X amount of hours to work, but if you're travelling and if you're, dropping kids and then driving to a place of work or driving to different places and, you've got all this travel time you've got to account for. So you're not really going to have that time unless you've got a set place where people come to you. And she's like, and I said, just be aware of that, think about how many billable hours you actually will have. She was selling a service based it was a health-based service product treatment. So, be honest about that, and then, be honest about what would work best for you around, because she's a mum, about being a mum as well.
Oh.
Do you need to look at planning your life? Ask for help. Do the kids need to go into care in the morning? Is it better for you to do that, or in the afternoon? How do you want to make your life work with your business?
Love it.
Because that's the key, right? And no one tells you that when you start your business. You just think, oh well, if you came from a corporate, especially, it was like 9 to 5.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's the expectation. That's the should. But I've got another client who her business is 9 till 2:30.
Yeah.
Because she chooses to employ mums who do the school hours.
And I love it.
How wonderful.
A totally underutilised workforce, and for people who we know who are mums who want to have a job, it's so ridiculous how limited they are. So that's fabulous to hear that. I take Mondays off. And when I say I take Mondays off, I generally don't have delivery or sales appointments on those days. I'll have the odd one because sometimes it's just such a lovely coffee. Doesn't seem to be work.
Yeah.
And I think it's also within reason. If you have something else later on in the week, or there's some project you've got on, you will work Monday. But if you make it the exception rather than the rule. And so you're so right about that clarity. And I was thinking that Ernest Rutherford quote, which is, we've got no money, so we've got to think, is like, I want to work in 20 hours, so I've got to think. Yeah. And if you look at that blog that I posted about a month ago, the paddleboard company, this is really interesting because often it's how we train people. So this paddleboard company decided, they're called Tower Paddleboards, and they decided that they were going to, he was going to have a 5-hour work day. And so he just basically got everyone in and said, right, I'm going to double your rate. So he was paying them the same amount. Yeah. Double your hourly rate, but we've got to try and get 5 hours work done, 8 hours work done in 5 hours. And one of them was training their clients. And they're saying, we just want to tell people that we are operational between these hours. And outside of those hours, there'll be a 24-hour response time. And it's like, you've got a paddleboard. I mean, what stuff it's not going to be like you potentially need something immediately. Now, there'll probably be a backup number, but that's a lot of things. I've been working with a couple of really cool individuals in the insurance industry, and one of them, she was just getting phone calls all night, and she's got a little 2-year-old. Yeah. And we just worked on her actually sharing with these people and saying, hey, look, if you really want to talk with me during this time, it's something really urgent, then fine, but I'm actually making a concerted effort to separate my work time and my family time, because my family time is important to me. Yeah. For me, when I'm coaching individuals, I say, when you need to get in touch with me, email or text, and we'll arrange a time. Because if I'm making the afternoon snack for the boys after school and the phone rings and then I ring it, I'm not going to be fully present to either you or them. So a lot of this, and this is what's so wonderful, because this is your gig, Fiona, is structures, and it's structures that serve, because I think sometimes we set up structures that are just so structured that they don't serve, right?
Totally.
Yeah, but that one is really good, just basically
personal boundaries. That's the biggest that's the biggest thing I work on with people, and they're setting up systems. So for themselves personally and for their business, like how do we want to engage with people? How are we going to, have a level of customer service that's going to meet the needs and expectations? But expectation setting for both your staff and your clients, so important. And you can do it in a beautiful, elegant way without...
Love it, yeah.
But your personal boundaries is the thing that kills people. And the people are most stressed that I work with when we go in to set up systems and write out the procedures and processes. The most stressed people are ones who have really, really poor personal boundaries.
So,
and they're always available.
yeah, totally. And so I wanted to show my model, but people can go onto the website, and I'm sure you'll put a link on that.
We will
see it. But I basically created my life's work on a model a couple of weeks back, and the first one, if I'm trying to look here, I think it is personal ROI, which we've talked about, like the boundaries. So it's basically around those 4 areas: wellness, career, relationships, and finance. And so get those out. And if you don't have those nailed, you've got an article for lifestyle, which is what you and I find a lot of. Secondly, is your unique creation. So it's a personal project or a role or a business that really lights you up. And I love the work of Elizabeth Gilbert. So Big Magic is great. So we are all creative, aren't we?
Yeah, and actually, Brené Brown's work on shame too. You were talking about shame.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing.
They are both amazing. And so that book, Big Magic's great. And it talks about how, Einstein, when he had a mathematical problem, used to go and play the violin. And so it's about us having that think time and create time, which is my Mondays, essentially.
Yeah.
And people can sit and listen to back
podcasts
of yours,
Yeah.
And so you want to create your unique creation and bring that element of you. Seth Godin's done some great work on that too. And he talked about design being the new currency, because it's the only thing that computers can't really do. And so if you don't have your own unique creation, this is where I want people in their business to really challenge themselves on that.
Yeah.
Are they doing what they really want to do, or are they doing what they feel they should be doing? And with who too, market's really important. Then they're doing someone else's art. And that was me. I was doing a lot of what people told me I should do. So I was going for industries that people were saying, yeah, this is a great industry, but they didn't really light me up.
Yeah.
And then the third part of the model is influence strategy. So it's how do you get out there and get known for that? And I'm not just talking about clients and prospects. I'm also talking about your husband or your wife, or even your family, or someone who could be a great advocate for you.
Yeah.
And that's where the more walk, less talk, more heart, less hype, more care, less crap comes in. Is there are really interesting ways for you to do it in a way that works for you. And you made a comment at the beginning about sales. Are you into sales or not? I think as business owners, we all, and you won't hear me say this word too much, have to be in sales at some stage, because I think a trap that business owners fall into is they hire a BDM and they think they're going to do all the sales for them.
Yeah.
What we want to do is just work out an influence strategy that works for you. So if you are an introvert, you're not going to be going out networking and speaking at events, but you could be doing some really great blogging and some really targeted conversations with a very few amount of people where you provide them so much value that they are happy to support you.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't have an influence strategy, then you're basically a best kept secret, which none of us want to be.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I like that idea. It's great.
Yeah. So you've already touched on it. Personal ROI, which is your boundaries.
Yeah.
Unique creation and an influence strategy. The center of all of that is freedom.
Yeah.
And fulfillment, and that's when you are doing work you love in the way that works for you, which is a big component of that is how much time you spend on it,
Totally. And that's a great little model there. I really like that idea of those three key areas. To figure those out will give you that freedom that you really are searching for. And
it might be just a slight course correction off. So for me, I was working, and I do still do some corporate work, and I love the corporates, but I really like working with individuals now. And so I'm delivering a similar type of message, but to a group that I really like. And I found out, so if you think of the kind of bell curve of your career, so you start, and I don't know, I'm on a is that the left hand or the right hand side? It's funny, isn't it? Am I going left to right or right to left there?
You're going my left over to right. Okay,
cool. Yeah. So you think about, you're entering a career sort of 18 to 25, and then you're at the crux of your career, and then I'm not sort of saying it's tapering off, but I like working with people at either end of that spectrum. So I really love working with people from the age of about 18 to 25.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, Fiona, the career advice is still as shitty as it used to be when you and I were there. I get a lot of requests from people who've got children of that age, and it's so fulfilling. We'll spend an hour with them, and guess what? I look at where the energy is.
Yeah.
We can question. They go, "Oh my God, this is so you."
Yeah.
And that's really great. But then the other side is the 45 plus. You know, people who, and a lot of these are people who've been in careers,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there going, oh, yeah, I just don't know that I really like banking that much, or I'm not sure I want to be a physiotherapist for the rest of my life. And we have so many stories, like you talked about the stories about the food and the weight. You know, we have so many stories about the fact that we're too old to get a job when we're just not. I've got clients in their 60s, late 60s, who are going out doing really amazing things. You know, one woman I know is starting up a legal practice in her 60s. She's always wanted to. She's just doing her bar exams because she's a lawyer. Working for a corporate, and why wouldn't you? You know, I was on the Paul Henry show 2 weeks ago talking about this with Annie Moore, and I was saying this you're probably too young for this, Fiona, but you know, my grandmother used to wear Osti dresses. Do you remember what Osti dresses?
Oh yes, I do. My nana wore those.
Yeah, there you go. So it was almost like they got to this age, and I thought, well, I better start wearing Osti dresses, and so there's been really
a cardi,
and there's some really interesting work done on how there was a study done about people who went to a camp and they looked at themselves, they just pretended to be 20 years earlier than they were, and they played the music and they wore the clothes and they ate the food and they had the conversations as if they were 20 years earlier. When they got out, they had photos taken before and after the 20 days, 2 weeks, I think it was. And their age was predicted by subjects in an experiment to be on an average about 10 years younger than what they were, because we just have to think ourselves to be younger. And often I think that's it. We feel, oh, I'm 50, so I need to start winding down. Says who?
Yeah.
You know?
And there's also an element of this is as good as it gets, and
totally.
And I've niched so far down, I can't go sideways or differently now.
Well, there's an interesting thing for me, my example of lead generation, right? You'll never see me talking about lead generation now. I'll talk about influence strategies, and I'm happy to have that as part of it. But we can do anything. It's far better for us. I mean, I still remember people at school, at university, you know, they did like 4 years of medical school. And then they said they didn't really want to do it. Well, better not to waste the next 2 years of your life and go and do something you really want to do. So that's it. That questioning when you're in business is, and it might, like I say, just be a little bit out. Not, you don't throw baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Thinking about different markets. And if you say, I don't know them, well, is this, I mean, that's what I love about Liz Fry, don't you? Is like, you know, Liz came over how long ago from the UK? Oh, it was only a couple of years, wasn't it? Or was it? Yeah, and look at how many people she knows.
Yeah, exactly. Major connector.
Yeah, Kath Vincent. I don't know if you know Kath. She's
Yes.
another one. You know, she's just, you know, don't believe that you don't know anyone in that market. There are ways for you to get known in that market, which is so cool, you know.
Oh, completely. The some of the tools that I've used to kind of help me get clearer on where I want to go and what I want to be doing. One of them was the Gallup, the Strength Finder.
Oh yes, Gallup's good. Yeah, definitely.
Which I really loved, because I've been through the corporate, all those personality profiling tools, you know. But what I loved about the intention was to find strengths. The other ones I felt like you're bad and wrong because you're not strong in this area.
Right, got it.
And pay attention to what you're not good at, which is self-defeating, really. Whereas the Strength Finder was very much about what are your strengths? Like, play to your strengths, embrace your strengths, which I found really empowering.
And it's interesting, yeah.
And refocused, which was great. And then the other one was Cortiside Feelings, like Danielle Laporte's.
Oh yes, she's amazing. Yeah.
So I did her Cortiside Feelings. So how do I want to feel? Like, what are the things that light me up?
Oh, I've seen her work, but I haven't seen that one, so I'll have to have a look at it.
So what I found fascinating was a massive revelation to me about 2 years ago is everyone experiences different versions of being happy. Like, they have different emotions when they're happy. I thought happy was just, everyone was just happy the same way. But in her work, she talks about, you know, for me, I've got them written down on my wall there. I can read them out. I need to be creative. I need to feel connected. I need to be inspired, purposeful, and helpful. That is my version of happy. So when opportunities come my way, that's my little filter. I can check in and go, oh, yeah, I get to feel that.
I love it. Yeah.
So it's for me, because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative type. I love looking for new ideas. But the problem is that too many, you know, or things would come my way and they might meet one of those criteria, but not the other ones. So now my decision-making process is heaps quicker.
That's great, Fiona. I love it. Yeah. It's like a true north, isn't it? And
it is. It's exactly it. So those are it's like I've got a pair of glasses I put on. Does I get to use these strengths, and do I get to feel these feelings? So I love that.
Have you ever come across Dan Sullivan's got a business called Strategic Coach, and he's very good. And he says, as 6-year-olds, we got given some really bad advice, which was focus on your weaknesses. Yes. And all we do is get a bunch of slightly better weaknesses. So the whole thing about focusing on your strengths is really good. And we look at that with our children. We've got children that could be a little challenging with some of their ways, and but it's looking at the really cool stuff about them and focusing on that. Life's too short.
Completely. Yeah. Having kids has been the best personal development course I've ever been on.
Little Zen masters, eh?
Don't need to spend money on anybody else. Just have children, and they'll give you a personal development course 101. Hey Laurel, as usual, it's been an absolute delight speaking to you, and I'm sure that the listeners have got some little gems of wisdom from you, and I love your model. I'll make sure that we, in the show notes, I post a link to where people can go and have a look at that in depth. And can you share with everybody about the new project you've just been...
thank you, Fiona. Well, back at you. We do have so much fun, and I just love the tribe that you're building, which is excellent, because I believe that is all about, and I think... in Thought Leaders Business School, which I have been part of, they talked about creating a tribe of tribal leaders, and I think we're all tribal leaders, and there's enough, someone goes, Fiona's setting up something similar to me. It's like, no, it's like we can belong to more than one tribe as well.
Totally.
So I'm really excited about Lab U, which is starting on Saturday the 3rd of December, and it's really what I want to do and with who I want to be with. And so it's for people who are either in a career or a job or a business, or doing nothing maybe, and they're just feeling as there's something else. And so mine's very practical, and essentially it's going to be 10 people, and I wanted to make the price point very accessible, because I do charge a premium for my one-on-one now.
Yeah.
And so I also love the group work. So essentially, I'll tell you now, it's just $600 a month to go through you get one-on-one coaching for that. But every 3rd month you have a group session, and we spend a day in a lab where the 10 of us work out personal ROI, our unique creation, our influence strategies. So we're just going through it in a way that I just want you to work out, firstly, what you don't want.
Yeah.
Secondly, look at that whole thing around your personal ROI, work out what you do want, and then I can really help people get out there and make it happen. As you said to me, my background's in recruitment and sales, so I know all about positioning and what people are looking for. Also lead generation. But the thought leadership thing has been brilliant about helping people get that stuff out of their head and see what they really want.
Great.
And it's just very, very practical in a way that works for them. So there's no dogma. And I call it a lab because it's an experiment. I call it a random experiment. And my pilot is I'm going to put so much energy and love and time into this. It's a crazy bargain considering what the participants are going to get out of it. Right. And the people who've come to me and signed up already are like, oh my God, it's just what I need. And I feel that that's it. It's like, it's really going to be something that does call people or not. But it could just be that they decide they want to start, working less hours a week. It doesn't need to be. And just to finish off on that soul purpose thing is why it wasn't about your soul purpose is, again, it's Elizabeth Gilbert has this great Super Soul Sunday, I think it is, about the passion bully and the hummingbird. And there's passion bullies and you and I have both been passion bullies in the past. And we still go out and find out if you're not loving it, it's not worth doing. Well, bullshit. You might be the hummingbird. You're trying a little bit of that, trying a little bit of that. Who's to say you found your soul purpose? It's like your soul mate. It's like just find something that works for you. No judgment. And so that's where I think just giving ourselves taking some pressure off, and this is definitely another conversation, but I've done a lot of reviewing on some of the manifestation and belief stuff that's going around, because I think that gives us a lot of opportunity to give ourselves a great old beat up that clearly the universe isn't giving me what I'm feeling so responsible. It's like, give up the soul purpose and alignment. No, don't give it up. If it works for you, great. But, I'm just not focusing on soul purpose and alignment. I'm focusing on energy like you are. And that's the difference, which is just Oh my God, it's so liberating. Yay.
Well, it's what brings you joy. To go back to Elizabeth Gilbert, when I saw her speak when she came to
I
speak at the writers,
Yeah.
the Writers Festival, and what the takeaway from that was from her was people get overwhelmed and think, oh, I don't, follow your passion, and they get, oh my God, I don't know what my passion is, and she said, follow your curiosity.
Oh, I love it. Follow your curiosity. That's brilliant. What a wonderful little meme to finish with, Fiona. That's great.
Because even if it doesn't, if you follow your curiosity like the hummingbird, then you will at least have a really interesting life.
Love it. That's what it's all about.
It is. So
curiosity on your happiness thing?
It's on my vision board.
Right. It's very much a part of who you are.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, very much. I'm very curious. Like, how does that work? Why? I was an annoying child at school. Why, Mr. Why? So thank you, Laurel. Thank you for your time today. And thank you, listeners. I will make sure the show notes have the links to all the things we've mentioned today. So if you want to catch up with Laurel, if you're not part of the Business Made Easy Tribe, the link is going to be on your right from memory. So come and join us. It's a private Facebook group. I do vet people who come in because it's a spam-free zone. It's an MLM-free zone. It's about business owners who are really interested in finding the easy way to do things and who are up for some learning, some fun, and some connection and collaboration.
Oh, and just one more thing, Fiona, I just suddenly thought, and this is good, this is following WE system, is because of your Business Made Easy Beautiful Tribe, I would love to do a special offer, which is anyone who signs up as a result of this podcast and seeing it, I'll put in they'll have a 2 or 3 hour strategy session with me up front, which is valued at $1,500, and I'm not offering that as part of LabU normally, but for certain groups that I work with, that's just a nice little ad. So,
brilliant!
Really sweet now, yeah.
Thank you, Laurel. That's extremely generous. It's very lovely.
I love them. The time just flies, and it's just such a great way to start to kick it off. Fantastic.
Cool. Radio. I will say goodbye. We'll see you all again next time on the Business Made Easy Show.